For me, daring to deviate means refusing to be confined by limitations imposed on me. It's the act of rebelling against the idea that I need acceptance for how I choose to show up in the world. But daring and rebellion were not things that I was brought up to believe I should or could be. Like so many women my age, my idea of what I should be and how I was allowed to show up in the world was an incredibly slim version of a woman. Invisible, silent rules taught me that being a nice, polite girl was the best thing that I could be. The only problem was, I wasn't. I was a loud, creative rebel, deeply feeling the world as a misfit. But like any good 80s kid, I stuffed it away, put a smile on my face, and allowed the world to shape me into the girl they demanded I be. I began to slowly crush my rebel. The first time my rebel truly cried was when I didn't fight hard enough to be allowed to go to art school because I wouldn't be able to get a proper job. I gave in and went to university to read geography. And after uni, I was lucky enough to fall into a job at one of the UK's most prestigious design agencies. I then landed a job at one of the world's most prestigious design agencies, with offices in London, New York, Singapore, and Amsterdam. By this point, I was still kidding myself that working around creative people was enough, that I'd made the right decision not to go to art school, because there really weren't any jobs for people that draw and paint. On my first day at the big international agency, I was shown the illustration department. I almost cried. But I kept on stuffing the disquiet down, drinking to silence my rebel. I continually tell myself how cool my job was compared to my mates in finance and management consultancy. I wore jeans and t-shirt. They stuffed themselves into suits. I'd regale them with stories of outrageous studio parties, obnoxious creatives and high-profile clients. I was working at the epicenter of the 90s cool Britannia. England was cool and hopeful, but I felt anything but. I was hungover most days, commuting 3 hours to work, 10 hours a day. My waking hours were spent in a fog of dread and growing anxiety as the walls closed in. Then one day, hungover yet again, I fell and knocked myself unconscious on the underground, and it all started to fall apart and fall into place.